Hello everybody and welcome to this new video of digital painting with Krita. And today, pencils. How a simple tool like a pencil can provide such a wide variety of strokes. So today, I'm going to present you SK3, the new bundle that contains 40 brushes, a lot of different textures, and is adding the new feature called auto invert for erasers that allows you to keep the texture intact while you are shading an area and you want to reduce some parts of the shading. It's amazing. And this video is going to be divided in 3 main areas. So if you like this idea, I hope you like it because it has taken a lot of time. So are you ready? Because here we go. And now we start with the first section, importing the bundle and preparing the UI to get the best of the bundle. I go to the settings, go to the manage resource libraries, and then look for the import button. Click and select SK3 and click OK, and done. You have loaded the bundle and right now it's going to appear right here. So click on close. You can see there are different sections. Let me just make a couple of changes on the UI. So go to the settings, configure the toolbars and select the brushes and stuff, and where you find the slider, you type a slider here and you select to click on apply, and there you have it. I use this configuration a lot, the size, flow. I put this in here, so okay. I put here the rotation and I put here the pattern scale. That's it. We have everything configured. The second section is going to give you an overview of the bundle as main sections, so you will get a better overview of what you can expect from these brushes. As you can see, I have divided the bundle in some categories. I separated them to make it clear, so you can understand better what are these brushes designed for. It's pretty easy. It's not a complicated bundle, but it's a powerful bundle. And remember, all the brushes respect the texture and use the auto invert for eraser new feature. Enjoy. Okay, now let me show you how to use the auto invert for eraser. Go to the brush editor and activate the pattern. Then I select a pattern wherever I want. For example, this, which is quite visible. And then I'm going to deactivate the opacity to make it more visible and go to the pattern, go to the options and activate here auto invert for eraser. So now I can make shading like this, and pressing E I can erase respecting the texture, and pressing E again I can recover what we had before. So you can go lighter or erase completely, or you can recover what you had. And this is pretty cool because allows you to protect the texture while you are shading. Auto invert for eraser is also useful when you are creating halftones. So imagine you have something like this. If you don't use the auto invert for eraser and press E, you're going to have this effect. But if you go to the brush editor and activate it, you will have something like this. You are reducing the halftone. And that's exactly what we want to get when we are erasing and respecting the texture. Isn't it cool? Now let me show you a couple of things about all these brushes. We start with the very smooth brush. There is almost no texture. This is like emulating a bit of traditional and digital at the same time. So you can increase the shading, but you can see it's pretty soft. So I have included the next step. It will be mimicking the real very smooth papers, and you can see how you can create this type of shading. Mechanical pencils can create detail pretty easy. They are designed to have a stable point. Basically, they create this type of stroke. It's a linear stroke. The second mechanical pencils, and you can see the difference because this is more textured mechanical pencil. So you can shade carefully and create detail at the same time. And the third mechanical pencil, a little tilted because it's supposed to be this type of mechanical pencil that holds the 2mm lead, so can be tilted. Is really cool. And here I have added another texture, so be aware of that you have this texture. But if you like the regular texture, and then save your own copy or just overwrite the brush. And now let me show you how I use the tone pencils really fast. The 3/8 is pretty useful when you are using in a low pressure, so you can go darker if you press harder, so you have a nice range. The H1, it's a finer pencil, but with a bit of texture, and it follows the same rule. B1 is like the basic pencil. You can see is super nice to work with. And 2B has more texture. And finally, 6B, which is for the darker areas, is this type of result. And if we use the tilde, you can see that we can cover a wide variety of strokes. We can make thinner lines, and we can make a broad textured shading with the 2B. 6B has the same, but is pretty dark. We use the darken in the 3/8 because 3/8 is pretty used to fill the gaps, so that way we can preserve the darker areas and we fill the white spaces. That's for the basic tone. This is real, this is not digital. With these brushes you can just use for writing, like you will do with something real. My personal notes are in Spanish. You see that if I make a tilt position, I can make more bold effect. Elevated position, I can refine my writing like I will do with real pencils. And if you want to create more detail, you can just grab 2B pencil and start to create detail, or even finer pencil just to make more detailed work. Now you can shade or change the shading or whatever you want on your drawing with these brushes. I did the brushes at the right scale. You can see the behavior, for example, something pretty similar. Also with the tilt position with 2B, the texture is respected and is emulating this type of a grain effect when the paper is not so smooth and has texture. So I hope you like it. So if you like the broadside technique with pencils, I have prepared these 3 ones. This is the softer version, and this is the hard stroke of chisel point that can cover total range of light and dark with this type of shading. And the third one is created to add a bit of texture, so you can control here where to put texture in your drawings. This came from Ted Kowski broadside strokes technique, so I hope you like it. This has 2 ways of using them. Remember, we have added here the rotation, so you can use the tilde, but if you find difficult, then go here, remove the rotation, and then you have the static rotation controlled by here, so you have flat or vertical depending on what you need on your drawing. Now let's take a look at this sketch that I did recently while I was developing these brushes. And let me show you one of my favorite brushes of this bundle, because it can create the effect mimicking the super tilted position, and I love it. I can create the same shading, and I can create soft shading, respecting everything. So yeah, I could finish this drawing with this pencil. And of course, you probably saw in the thumbnail that I did test. So this is what I'm gonna do right now. And as you can see, if I use the tilt position, I can mimic really well the behavior of this pencil. And I'm drawing a secondary eye, how you can mimic the texture of your real drawings. And if for some reason you feel that you need more texture effect, you can go to the brush editor and go to the strength, and you can reduce in the low section of the pressure, and then it's more sensitive. Test it, modify it, and you will find the perfect pencil for your fast sketches. Just let me know in the comments you're gonna do sketches with it, and you can pull this on Krita Artist, and that way I can see how other people use these brushes. I will be very pleased to see the results. And now let's go with the round grain brushes. We have 3 of them. The first one is to create softer shading. It's like creating this round grain feeling, soft shading, low pressures. If you tilt elevated, we can get a defined line. For that, I use the second one, which is better for drawing, and you can see I can draw much better. And the third one, create a different grain if you need to shove this effect of grain, or you can combine with the tone values, so you can finish your drawing combining all these pencils. Talking about shaders, all the black pencils with red stripe. For example, this one is pretty useful because you can create good shading really fast with low pressure, and then you can create details really fast with higher pressure. The final result for doodling is perfect. Second one is more for integrating images with background. You can see how I can create background. The third one is basically the same, but the effect is more textured. It's pretty cool because create this stripe effect is directional, so you can create this type of effect. Fifth one is good for shading too. I use this for shading and for drawing because I love the texture. Really fast, good drawings. And these brushes with the spray emblem are special because they have been designed with the spray brush engine. I did a video time ago about this one. With this you can create like a grainy effect. It's good for big areas. And then we got this special that can create this effect. I love this because it's very graphical, and you can create this cutting. With a bit of practice, you can create even portraits. You can resize, and then it's more controllable. So you get an overall idea of what you can create with this. So playing with that, you can create amazing graphical effects. Hope you like it. These are the shaders. Talking about the texture, the best way to show the effect is just using it. You can see how I render here 6 spheres with 6 brushes that we have for texture. And don't forget that you can increase the scale and you won't be losing detail. Another way to control better the texture, for example, I'm using this one, but if you want to make it softer in terms of shading, you can reduce the flow and you get this effect. It takes more time to arrive to darker values, but you can see that it's softer. Some brushes, like this one, for example, is using the pattern scale reduce, so you see the effect. But you can increase the size until around 1, and you can see the real grain size and all the detail of this size. If you want to create different textures with the same brush, you can just play with the pattern scale. That's pretty cool. And now we are talking about blenders, and blenders can be used to blend these areas and you destroy the wide gaps. Second one is the blender grain. Based on the brush tip that we use, you can see here is creating like particles. So basically I use it to blend without destroying too much. Third one is based on the same behavior, is a brush tip that is scattered, and for that reason I can create this effect. I love it. And I can create here the scattering effect in bigger size, and you see the effect. And you have all the control over your blending with these brushes. These smudgers have been designed to get shading out of nothing at all. So you can see I'm just dragging the pixels that we have already placed on canvas. We can achieve just a quite of shading, even when the color selected is red. So this is happening because the layer has transparency. We are using the Krita power to create shading just as this, as like if I am using my finger over the paper or like a tissue. So this is the first one, and of course you can increase the strength here, and now you will see how the effect is even stronger. And this is more stronger, so we can use it just to say create the basics like powder or some type of fast shading that we can refine later, or maybe for exploration. Is tinting a bit with the color selected. It's like when your tissue has some dirtiness, but you can remove completely the color rate. So now it doesn't apply any color. So if you like it, you can play with it just to add some hues around your sketch. But if you don't like it, just deactivate it. Talking about erasers, you can see that we have 4 different brushes. The first one is the soft, so you can reduce the tone without relying on texture, and you can reduce here the texture effect if you want to. But if you are using the hard eraser, you're gonna see how the texture is more visible. And the third one is the electric eraser. It's pretty useful if you keep press to create holes, and I create highlights, and then I can go over a lighting effect. And this brush came from charcoal KA, because sometimes graphite can be pretty near from charcoal behavior. So you can see how it can erase, but at the same time is smudging. Different type of blending, but erasing at the same time. If you want softer behavior, just go to the opacity and put this to this type of curve, and then you have a softer behavior. It's like a pure blender. I love it too. Third section is some hints about how to use them in the best way using tilt and some tricks. I hope you like it. And now let me show you really fast how I use these brushes, because normally if we are painting with normal concept art brushes, we hold the pencil like this, clicking on this button to choose the color from your canvas. But with pencils, I prefer to use the 45-degree position of my hand and even longer distance from the tip of the stylus to get the shading. As you can see here, I can perfectly shade one area just like this, or create tiny detail. And for long shading, this is much more useful. As you increase your tilt elevation, you are getting more and more detail. So what do you think about this position? It's a more relaxed position. Don't hold your stylus in a tight position like this, but more flexible, relaxed, like real pencils. Another thing that is important is when you are drawing with white background, This is not exactly what you have when you are using real pencils. So you want to mimic better the experience, you can use the templates I prepared time ago and just use paper ready to be seamless when you are cropping and you need to add more space or whatever. The paper is auto-generating. So you can start drawing your sketches and you are not confined to a restrict DNA 4, DNA 3 or your page. And this blends very well with the paper. And the effect is much better when you are using some type of paper. And if you are starting with pencils, I have prepared a basic selection for you. With this selection, we will covering the writing, the basic drawing, flat shading style or tilted pencil, good for backgrounds, fast shading, blender category, and the eraser stuff. But this is only a recommendation if you don't know how to start. As you can see, the bundle has its own tag. Imagine I want to have only the green pencils. Then you can see that the names is sharing the word tone. So I can search for tone and I have the pencils. I can look for texture and have the texture. So I hope this helps to get a nice workflow with your brushes. This has been a lot of content for this video. For the next one, I will be talking about the fill tool. I will explain some tricks and how to use it correctly. But now don't say goodbye too fast because we have a lot of material in the channel. And if you have suggestions for the next video, I listen, I read all the comments and I answer personally all the comments that I can. See you right now in the next video. Come on, I'm waiting.